Welcome to another episode on our channel, continuing on with our World War II collection. I've been adding some figures. I really wanted to add more figures to the United Kingdom side of the house because they were really the glue that kept the Allies together until other forces would change sides or enter into the war. United States entered after Japan bombed Pearl Harbor. Italy went through a nasty divorce with Germany after some events we talked about earlier took place. Of course, the Soviet Union went through an ugly divorce with Germany as well. And France was divided at one point in time. Free French forces versus Vichy forces, which were fighting on the Axis side, and Free France forces fighting under Charles de Gaulle, General Charles de Gaulle, on the Allied side. So lots of interesting things taking place. This is a North African British World War II soldier. And what I did is I found an officer shirt, which was light OD green and made it khaki, because I've seen these outfits on World War II officers. And so made this khaki. I had some pants, some British or United Kingdom pants. I cut them into shorts. I sewed them. I actually sewed this time around. They came out pretty good, actually. And the lower part of what I cut off, I made into socks. Use boots here. Just printed out some insignia and so forth and hot glued it in place. This is a shamag, which would have been put over the head. And it would have protected soldiers from sand, be shade from the sun. The goggles would help with keeping the sand out of the eyes. I had the binoculars and the goggles from another figure that I'm redoing, not related to World War II, but decided to use these two things here. Had a Sten rifle or machine gun, submachine gun, and a pouch I decided to put on him. And what else can I tell you? I think that's about, with the shirt, I noticed that being hot weather and sand all over the place, they rolled their sleeves up. To get this look, I literally, this was a shirt that if you cut it, it will start to fray. And piece by piece, it will start to fray until there's nothing left. And so what I ended up doing is I did cut it. I tried to, roll up the sleeve. It didn't work because it started to fray way too much. But I cut the bottom of the sleeve, which had a hem in it. Cut that so that the hem was protected. And where it was cut here, I just took this little piece that I cut where the hem was protected and shoved it up. Had it meet the arm here. So it's not going to go anywhere and it's not going to fray. So just some things that I ended up doing to create this look. This shamag is just flannel, or not flannel, but felt from Michael's. You get these like 69-cent things. You cut it into a piece, something maybe a little, not a really big rectangle, but a smaller one. And then I just took some elastic and sewed a circular piece together and just put it on there, in addition to the goggles, which is holding this thing in place. So I think he turned out quite well. So United Kingdom, which represented England, it represented Scotland, it represented Wales and Northern Ireland. The Commonwealth represented Canada, Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, India. I can't create everyone, but I did try to focus on territories. We talked about New England, not New England, United Kingdom in general. And then we talked about Burma, now Myanmar, individuals, United Kingdom soldiers fighting in Burma. We talked about the Black Watch, Scottish soldiers within the United Kingdom, and now here's North Africa. So we'll pause, get him on a tray, do some close-ups from his feet all the way to the top of his head, do some side-to-side shots, and then talk a little bit more about North Africa and the conflict that took place there. We'll be right back. So his boots are brown and a bit weathered. I used the lower part of his pants to create socks so that they would match the pants. I cut the pants and made shorts out of them, and I ended up actually sewing them not too bad. He's got a holster on his right side that wraps around his leg and a belt that supports it above. I have got a binocular case, a watch on one of his hands, and binoculars where his watch is. There's that folded up look that I achieved by cutting the ends of the sleeves off where the hem was, cutting the sleeve itself to be shorter, and then pushed the portion that had the hem up to meet the gap right above his elbows. He's got the binocular case there. He's got a pouch on his side. You might be able to see his Sten submachine gun in the back. He's got the shemagh on his head and goggles. So, yeah, there you go. We'll do some side-to-side shots. Half the fun in customizing is making something work. So I finally figured out with all the fraying, if I cut the sleeve and I tried to roll it up, like I said before, it just kept fraying and fraying and fraying. It wasn't until I figured out, hey, just cut the end of the sleeve that I already cut the sleeve off. Let me just cut the end of the sleeve off from the cutoff end, keep the hem in place, and then just slip that up to meet the cut part of right above the elbow. And that turned out wonderfully. Then I used a khaki color instead of what it came in, light OD green. And then with the pants made into shorts, used the end of the pants for socks and so forth. It was just fun when you can figure all this out. But I bartered for the shirt, I bartered for the pants, the boots I had from a different figure that I wanted to change, the goggles I had from a different figure, binoculars I had from a different figure that I wanted to change. So all that is now on this figure. I don't need it on the other figure. It's not a World War II figure, it's just a figure. I bartered for the holster and the sidearm. I bartered for the pouch. I bartered for the Sten submachine gun. And I had everything else. So really, like I said, the only thing that this cost me was 69 cents in terms of recent costs, just to make this wonderful cover to protect someone who would be fighting in North Africa. So we'll go around and you can see more of him. You definitely see the binocular case, binoculars in his hand, the watch on his hand. On this side, the sidearm, the drop down holster, and the goggles on his head, the felt that was used for the shemagh, the pouch and the stand submachine gun. The only thing I'm really missing is a canteen. But I'm happy with it overall. So we'll pause now and get a tighter look at his face. So I wanted a head sculpt that had facial hair, beard, and mustache, and I thought this one worked out very well. You might recognize him as Thor, but he looks good. And I'm trying to think, there's something else. Oh, the insignia. So on this side, we have special air service on the side of his arm. You can see some wings on above his pocket. And on this side, you'll also see SAS. So there you go. I'm definitely a fan of history because history teaches us things. It teaches us to be sensitive to what's going on in our world, because everything, there are high stakes when it comes to conflicts and wars and so forth. We need to be vigilant. We need to make sure we're standing for the right things in life, taking hopefully the moral ground and protecting freedoms. And this World War II, it became global. At this point in time, not much can not touch everyone. So, I mean, you may have, for example, a friend from Israel right now, or Palestine, or a friend. I personally have a friend from Ukraine. You know, I had a former student from Russia, Soviet Union. So, you know, I have ties to a lot of people all around the world, and it's hard not to be interconnected and to worry about people and human lives. But sometimes you have to be vigilant and you have to take stands that will cost lives because so much is at stake. United Kingdom stood up for the right things. North Africa, there were 220,000 casualties, United Kingdom casualties. There were 35,478, almost 35,500 deaths, military personnel deaths. And North Africa was a hot spot. Italy and United Kingdom were going back and forth, capturing, recapturing territory. Germany sent reinforcements to help Italy in the Second Battle of El Alamein. Germany lost. About that time, the United States had entered in to North Africa, you know, because they were brought into the war with Pearl Harbor. And things were changing. You know, there were some ugly divorces going on, or would go on eventually. Soviet Union and Germany would have an ugly divorce. Hitler would attack the Soviet Union, Stalin. Italy would eventually have a divorce with Germany, but before that, about 250,000 troops eventually were surrounded by the Allies. German and Italian troops surrendered, 250,000. And that occurred because England was there, the Vichy forces of France, which were fighting on the Axis side at first, switched sides when the United States entered North Africa, and Italy lost the hunger of fighting for a cause they didn't believe in anymore. So a lot of forces took place that eventually led to the Allies being victorious in World War II. And our world would be quite different today, likely, if it had gone the other way. So anyway, England was or United Kingdom, I should say, Commonwealth, was the glue until people got on the same sheet of music. More forces got on the same sheet of music. So anyway, I wanted to do someone from North Africa, and I just happened to like the British uniforms. So I took a stab at customizing this guy, and I think he turned out quite well. So North Africa, British, World War II soldier. I ran out of stands. I just have the older stands, which actually use less space. So I don't know if I'll go back to them or not. But anyway, I started out with what I labeled England, but it's really United Kingdom soldier. I wish I could pay homage to everyone from the United Kingdom. Obviously, that would be Scotland. I do have a Scottish soldier here, Black Watch soldier, but it would be also Wales. It would be Northern Ireland, the Commonwealth, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, India. But hopefully I can just represent them all with United Kingdom here. Or it does say England, but I meant it to be United Kingdom. A Chindit who's fought in what's currently known as Myanmar. It was known as Burma back then. Of course, the Black Watch, Scottish soldier, and the person who would be fighting in North Africa. So yeah, I hope you've liked what you've seen. If you have, consider giving us a thumbs up and subscribing to our channel. In the meantime, everyone, please have a great day.